I'm going to make some really good little sweet scones with chocolate chips and raspberry jam. I'm going to make the scone dough in the Thermomix, and it is literally made in 2 minutes, actually 50 seconds. So I've got 450 grams of plain flour, pinch of salt, 50 grams of chocolate chips. You can leave the chocolate chips out and just put a tablespoon of sugar in instead if you wish. I'm going to put chocolate chips in, there. 75 grams of butter cut into little cubes like that. And 30 grams of baking powder. Go to tear. Okay. That's that. Put the lid on and go to knead for basically 30 seconds. So at this stage, the butter's been rubbed in. It's resembling coarse breadcrumbs in there. I'm going to add in now 2 eggs and 200 grams of milk. There. And now just 20 seconds, and then the dough should come together. There. Okay. And fantastic. Look how lightly it's mixed. It's really good. So, want a little bit of flour on the worktop. But you know, instead of chocolate chips, or instead of that tablespoon of sugar that you could put in instead of chocolate chips, you could put cinnamon in here, cinnamon and sugar. Also delicious, lemon zest, cardamom, white chocolate chips. There, or of course, raisins, sultanas. There, currants with orange zest are lovely. You know, feel free to play around. It's a great basic recipe. And you get this really lovely dough. It's great. Okay. So, just turn the dough over like that. I always turn it over. And then pat it out or roll it out with your rolling pin. And I want to get about 10 to 12 scones out of this. You could, of course, cut them into rounds. Quite often just cut them into squares, and then you have no scraps, you know, to bring together. That can get a little bit tough. Right, so I've got a little bit of brown sugar, not essential, but delicious. And some milk, or even a little bit of egg if you like. And just once that is about 3 centimeters thick, I think that's good. Brush the milk all over the top. I've got the oven preheated to hot, 230 degrees. There. Brush that all over. Lots of nice sugar. This is a light muscovado sugar, or you could use demerara sugar. And it gives the scones a really good crunchy top. There. Bit more. Yes. Okay, and then cut and go. They can be, you know, not massive like this size. There. Put them on the tray. Like that. Or, of course, they could be larger. I tend to put the smaller ones on the inside because they cook last. Bigger ones on the outside. And that is the scones made. They're going to go into the hot oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're a bit puffed up, golden brown, and they just sound hollow when you lightly tap them on the base. So while the scones are baking in the oven, I'm going to make the raspberry jam. Raspberry jam is, well, delicious at this time of the year, at any time of the year using frozen raspberries, but at this time of the year, we've got fresh, lovely raspberries growing. And it's a great jam because you just basically use equal quantities of raspberries and sugar. I'm using jam sugar, and so I've got 250 grams of raspberries. They could be fresh or frozen, these are fresh, and 250 grams of sugar. So weigh the sugar, there. This is so handy to make actually in the Thermomix. 250 grams, because that's the amount of raspberries I have. Fantastic. And then add in the raspberries. There. a lovely glut of raspberries. Weigh whatever amount you have, pop them in, equal quantities of sugar. And then put the lid on. And actually, instead of using the center part of the lid, I'm actually putting the simmering basket on top because this allows the steam to escape while the jam is cooking. So then you put this on for 25 minutes. That's how long the jam takes to cook. At 105 degrees, there. And speed 1. Lovely. So, the scones are looking, lovely, golden brown. They stand hollow when you tap them on the base. They're good. I'll put them onto a cooling rack and wait for the jam to cook. Oh, look at the chocolate. There. So that is the jam cooked. That's it. If you want, of course, if you're going to store this, have some jars sterilized and you can pour the jam straight into them, or you can just pour it straight out. It's really hot. Once this cools, it will be set. So my favorite way to enjoy these kind of sweet scones is with jam and cream. So a little blob of jam. Yum. 1 and 2. Spread that out. How good, especially as the jam is just, wow, still slightly warm. And then a blob of softly whipped cream. And there you go. They are my chocolate chip scones with fresh raspberry jam.